Yeah. I figured, like, folding laundry is an easy chore. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. And so it would be nice to, like, sit down and talk. I guess I'll talk about my faith a little bit because somebody did ask a question about that on Instagram. I am Christian, so I was raised in a Christian family. Our faith was a big part of, like, their decision-making process, their morals. Like, my dad didn't make a lot as a pastor, and during the recession in 2008, he voluntarily took a 20% pay cut because he didn't want to have to fire anybody from the staff. To me, seeing my parents live out their faith, even when, like, they weren't sure how they were going to provide for the family, but, like, they knew what they were doing was right, seeing that has always really inspired me to, like, live out my own faith. And then as I kind of grew up, I found my own faith a little bit more versus just like,
oh yeah, I'm Christian because my family is Christian.
Like, I don't really believe that's how it works. You need to figure out if you're going to choose to pursue that, like, connection with a creator and with, like, an all-powerful being. Anyway, I'm Christian. I do believe in God. I believe that he created the world. I believe in Jesus Christ, his son. I believe that he died for my sins and for everybody else's sins, whether they believe in him or not. I don't think that going to heaven is, like, based on some set of scales, like how many good things or bad things you do, because, you know, think about it. No one can ever do enough good things to earn their way into heaven. I don't really know if that made any sense. One thing that I don't agree with, though, is that a lot of times I feel like, at least in America, like, the Christian church is seen as very divisive and condemning. So, like, people will say, like,
oh, if you're a Christian, like, do you hate gay people?
Like, no. We're called to love everybody, no matter who they are. Some of my political views or, like, the way that I live might not seem, like, stereotypically Christian. So, oh, I don't like wearing jeans. They're so stiff. Way better. Yesterday I filmed I was, like, doing laundry and I was answering a question that somebody asked about my faith. Asked if I would ever do a video about veganism because I've been vegan for 2.5 years. And I was like,
yeah, for sure.
But I don't really know, like, what to say. I think it's definitely, like, a growing trend and people are getting a little sick of hearing about it because there's so much exposure on the topic. Why is this still wet? I went vegan my first year of college. I was getting into long distance running. I just really liked it. It was, like, a good stress reliever. And so I was looking up diets of endurance athletes, like, in the Olympics. Oh, is this the sock I was missing? Nice. I expected to find a lot of, like,
oh, I eat high protein and, like, low carb
diets, because that's kind of, like, what you hear a lot in diet culture. I was really surprised to find that a lot of athletes were like, I eat a plant-based diet, I eat really high carb. Your brain runs on glucose. Glucose comes from the breakdown of carbs.
Science rules.
Especially, like, slow digesting carbs, like sweet potatoes or whole grains, like rice and oatmeal. Those will give you energy for 2 or 3 hours. And so I was like,
wow, it really seems to be working for a lot of people.
and at this point I was eating on a meal plan at the school that I was going to. It's not always, like, the greatest options because everything is mass produced. So I wanted to be able to utilize that to my advantage. And so I did it for a week and I, like, didn't know anything about being vegan. I, like, wasn't sure. I was like,
is peanut butter vegan? Is hummus vegan?
Butter, for some reason, really confused me. I wasn't sure if that was vegan or not. Yeah, it was a learning experience for sure. And after a week, I started to feel really full of energy. I felt like just, like, really clear-minded and, like, less bloated, like, after I ate. I knew that everything I was putting into my body was healthy. It was, like, plants, fruits, vegetables. It was, like, the healthiest I'd been eating for a while. And so I decided to just keep going as long as I could. But I would, like, keep learning more. Like I would watch documentaries, kind of read articles, read blog posts, and trying to figure out what worked best for my body. And in this city, in Milwaukee, there's so many cute little cafes. Where I was at school my first year, there was nothing. So I basically ate salad bar and like oatmeal for every single meal. But coming to Milwaukee was just so eye-opening, and there were so many more options. I kind of like learned more about what things you can count on to always be vegan, like potato chips, almost always vegan. Not the healthiest, but they're almost always vegan. Like fries, a lot of bread, and like bagel products, those are usually always vegan. Never been tempted to go back. Yeah, I would highly encourage anybody who's thinking about it to go vegan. It's a great choice. It's not hard. The more I learn about it, the more I don't think I'll ever go back. Eating a plant-based diet is so much more doable. It's so much more sustainable in the long term for our environment, which is going downhill so quickly. And so if I can do anything to help it, I will. You have more power than you think with your daily choices. So yeah, that's my little spiel on veganism. Yeah, it's a great time. Yeah.